For more on today's devastating crash, we're turning to ABC contributor and former pilot John Nance. So good to have you, John. We just saw those frightening images in Ian's report showing the plane crashing just minutes after takeoff. From what we've seen so far, and I know it's early, what may have gone wrong here?
Well, the one thing that we know for a fact is that the aircraft did not have sufficient thrust out of its engines to be able to maintain flight once it got into the air. Something happened, and whether the engines rolled back to zero or whether they were at idle, they weren't producing sufficient thrust. Why? That's the big mystery, because these jets are built to be very carefully designed to not have something happen to the left engine if it happens to the right, and vice versa. So this is the starting point that the investigators will be looking at. There's never just one cause, but this is going to be critical.
This is the first deadly crash involving a Dreamliner, but the plane's been under scrutiny for years. What have the concerns been?
Well, they had trouble getting the airplane into the hands of the airlines, about a 2-year delay, but it didn't have anything to do really with the capabilities of it. It had more to do with supply and the way that Boeing had put this thing together. Once it got in the air, its service has been really superlative, millions and millions of flights, and never a fatal glitch until now.
And of course, we remember those horrific crashes involving the Boeing 737 MAX back in 2018 and 2019. Does this spell more trouble for Boeing?
I don't believe it will. Now, I have to say, as a caution, if there's something here that is indigenous to the airplane that contributed to the loss of the thrust, then maybe it will have an impact. But I don't think at this point in time that that's going to be the situation. And we will find out, because the cockpit voice recorder and the flight data recorder, if they have not already been removed from that tail, they will be.
Many of us wonder about safety when making seat selections. The sole survivor was sitting in seat 11A, which also was in an emergency exit. Can we read anything into the significance of that particular placement on the plane?
You know, it's been a legitimate question for decades, and we've never been able to come up with an answer that had any consistency at all. Partially because there's so few crashes, thank goodness, but also because it really depends on the pattern of the impact and what happens during those critical seconds that everybody is decelerating. In this particular case, I think you probably could use the word miracle of getting that fellow out.
Sure sounds like it. All right, John Nance, we thank you so much for your insight and expertise. Appreciate it.